Not a lot. Just enough to remind me why I don't watch it. Oh, this is already funny. Just the headline. The list of moves and actions that are now banned from AEW or need to be approved by the company.
Maybe that's why Nash is pissed off, because he went for Rock and Austin and not try to duplicate him.
Well, it'd be easier to duplicate him. You only have to learn 5 moves.
Like you said, and we've all been saying, Tony Khan, you need a hierarchy, and he gets one, and then we make fun of it.
Because he's sitting back there talking about the Brock match, and it's finally we had a wrestling match. Finally, we got 2 guys telling a story. They weren't outside in the ring the whole time. One of them
was he not watching the same match as we were?
Yeah, those games, man, I would say, like, for me, like, the best ones, I would say, are, like, the ones where they try to get a certain, like, time.
This is my entire IT team right here on screen. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Nation Network for another fun episode of WrestleChat, where tonight we will finally lay to rest once and for all, scientifically, who should be on the wrestling Mount Rushmore. You hear people talk about it all the time, but we've got science to go into this one, and we're going to come up with a real list of who should be on the Mount Rushmore. So get ready, buckle up, and you can be part of it. I've already dropped the link in the chat box there. So if you guys want to actually jump on, you don't have to be on camera. It's great if you are, but as long as you got a microphone that'll work, you can actually be here live with us for this last episode ever of WrestleChat on StreamYard. My free service runs out after today, so I'll be discontinuing it. We're going to try and get OBS to work, but that's something that's going to be a little work in progress to see if I can make that happen. So I'd love to have you guys on with us. I definitely won't be able to have multiple people on after today. So this is the day to get it done if you want to be a part of this thing and help us out. All right. Well, with that in mind, got to get somebody in here to help me out with all this stuff. My one, my only, my colleague, my partner in crime. Put your hands together for him. This is J-Rocks. There you go. Strike a pose. All righty then. Tom Watson in the house early and ready to go. I love it. M. Hawk is here as well. Mount Rushmore, what era? It's pro wrestling era, buddy. From Abraham Lincoln through today.
Yes, because he did wrestle.
He was a wrestler. Abe Lincoln. And you could say that about the current. He didn't wrestle, but he was the GM of Raw, and he also got in there and took Vince McMahon's hair. So, yeah.
He did tackle Vince on the outside of the ring.
That's true. He took a hit. That's right.
Yeah.
So, yes. No matter how things change, they still remain the same. All the best presidents got into wrestling. All right. Let me see if I can pull this all together here. Hold on while I... As the man said in the movie one time, pardon me while I whip this out. Share screen. And voila. Bam. All right. That's what we're looking at there. So we've got 4 categories we're going to be putting together here. So we'll come up with names. And as we come up with names, then we're going to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10 in the category of wrestler. That means they can actually wrestle. Good moves, look good in the ring, they connect well. You know, comparing moves, for example, Chris Benoit's crossface versus John Cena's crossface, where John Cena has like a 3-inch gap of air between his wrist and the chin of his opponent. And Chris Benoit, who locked that thing on too tight, and then we know probably why. But anyway, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about with wrestling. The guys who really made it look good. Then we go to the category of draw. Did they? Did they sell tickets? Did they bring people out to the seats? Did they sell pay-per-views? And how long did they do it for? Were they a flash in the pan or were they around for a while? Merch. There's some people that weren't great wrestlers, sold a lot of merch, and that's still part of it. And finally, the persona. The persona is the reputation outside the ring. Were they total douchebags, or did they appreciate the platform that they were given? Sorry, Scott Snyder, you're out. So that's how we're going to do this thing. Those categories 1 to 10 for each category for the wrestlers that we now randomly select or that you guys all contribute to selecting. And then we'll divide that number by 4, and that'll give us our overall number. And then when we're all done, we're going to know the top 4. Pretty simple, isn't it? All right, let's get this thing kicked off. Who wants to throw a name up there for the Mount Rushmore? Somebody you think is going to stand the test. Jay, what you got?
For wrestler?
No, for plumber. Yes, wrestler.
I'd go with Kurt Angle.
Ooh, not at all what I was expecting. Okay. Kurt Angle's on the board. Let's see. We got a Harley Race. We got a couple. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a Harley Race. We're not going to put all the Von Erichs up there, Hawk, but if you want to pick your favorite, I'll put him up there. Flair. I guess I'm going to have to be there. Well, Tom's got a bunch. All right, let's see. HBK. Wayne. Ugh. All right, fine. Bret Hart, Undertaker.
Chad Gable.
Bret Hart, Undertaker. And there's already there. Put the chat on there. I don't think he's going to make it through the list, but okay. Let's see. Actually, let me make a few longer. I wasn't thinking about this. Come on. All right. Oh, Roddy Piper. Here's one. Surprised nobody else said it, but
For wrestler?
for Hulk Hogan.
I do draw for Hogan, but not wrestling.
Well, it's all 4 categories, though. So he might have a low number in wrestler, but he might have the highest number.
Oh, see, I thought we were doing each category.
No, sir. This is, again, each of these wrestlers is going to be rated in each of these categories.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, then
because that's what it takes to be a great wrestler is all 4.
All right. I need a Latino heat on there.
Oh, yeah. Good one. I always get Guerrero. Come on, man. Too many consonants in there.
Sting. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sting.
Yeah, Hawk put Sting there.
Can't leave Stinger out of there. Good list so far. What are we up to here? 13. We'll go up to 20.
We need Austin 13. On there.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That should be right. Stone Cold.
Let's see here.
Yeah, hosting Flair. We missing anybody from the list on
Triple
you guys?
H.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Ba-dum-bum-bum. All time. I'm trying to think back. We ain't got Dusty there.
Nope.
Can't not have Dusty. Got to be part of the conversations. Did we put John Cena?
Nope.
Jesus.
We couldn't see him. How could we put him?
That's it. He's there. You just can't see him.
Right. CM Punk, Drew McIntyre.
We got 3 slots left. Do we want to use Drew or do we want to try and find some other time frames?
M. Hawk says Lou Thez.
Okay. Any of us seen Lou Thez matches enough to know?
I've seen clips, not whole matches.
Yeah, same. And here's the problem. It's kind of unfair to guys from the 50s and 60s because there was no pay-per-views. And
They didn't really sell merch.
Yeah, there wasn't any merch really. But that's probably why they're not on the Mount Rushmore in anybody's conversation. So, yeah, we can throw them in there, though.
Yeah, but
we still got 2 more slots.
Let's see.
I know. Let's see is right. You know who I'm thinking?
Gotta have Andre.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, put Andre up there because God knows he had the longest win streak going.
I think we already got Undertaker on there, Tom.
Yeah, Undertaker's up here. I was thinking until you said Andre, but I was thinking about Vader.
Vader would be good. So would Bam Bam. A couple of the big guys like that.
Well, again, when I'm thinking about all 4 categories, like Bam Bam ain't going to do nothing for draw and he ain't going to do nothing for merch.
I would say the same for Mick, too. I mean, he would be good for merch. He would be good for draw.
Wasn't a wrestler.
Right.
Yeah, but you know what? I put him in there, though. I'd put him in there. All right, that's our 20. That's our list of 20, and I think that's reasonable. At the end of the day, no matter if we went 20, 30, or 40, I think we're going to get down to the same 5 to 7 at the end and then narrow it down to the top 4. So I think the legitimate top 4 are already on this list. We just got to figure out who they are. Once again, if you want to join us live here, just click on the link that I put in the chat box, and you'll come up here on the screen, and then I can add you in.
Yeah, Tom, I agree. Inoki would have been a good one also. But if you didn't watch the Japanese wrestling back then, but he had some hell of a matches with Hogan over in Japan, that's for sure.
Yeah, a very different style, too. So I guess we should preface it by saying we're kind of doing a Mount Rushmore. The same way Mount Rushmore has only American presidents, not Japanese leaders, it's the same logic with the wrestling. All right, we have our list of 20. Let's start going name by name and start giving them some numbers. So for those of you in the chat, again, if you want to jump on live with us, I'd love to have you. And otherwise, just start typing in your numbers. But make sure you put, because there can be a little bit of a delay sometimes. So like if we're talking about Kurt Angle as a wrestler and you're going to give him a 10, make sure you say 10 wrestler so we know what you're giving the points for. All right. So Kurt Angle as a wrestler. 1 to 10. Jay, what do you got?
I'll give him a 9.
I thought you were going to go 10, and I was going to go 9, saying nobody's perfect. But okay, there you go. Oh, damn, perfect.
See, there's so many that could be added to it.
Yeah, but Mick, you got to go. That's the world that we live in. You can't not have Kurt Hennig in the top 20, for God's sake. Lost my damn mind.
Yeah, Bruno.
Oh, Bruno, shit. Hold on. We're adjusting the list as we go here. Sorry, Luthez, you're out. This really is an impossibility,
Yeah.
but you know,
I would have put Bob Backlund in there too, but
you know what? I was thinking about a 6-year run.
Pedro Morales. I'm surprised you didn't put Tito on the list for you.
Because he's not going to come out in the top 4.
Okay.
In my world, if I'm making my Mount Rushmore, him and Barry Windham are on it. But that's a me thing.
Right.
So
Right.
we're talking about what the wrestling world is going to accept. And the wrestling world is not going to accept Tito Santana on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling. Who was that name that we just threw out there?
Angle and 9 also.
Who was that name we just threw out there?
Backlund.
It's not Backlund. You know what? You're not going to like it, but Chad's gone.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Because honestly, same style.
Yeah, well, same style, and Backlund was a world champion for 6 years. So, all right. Let's see what we got here. So you've got a 9. I've got a 9.
M. Hawk gave him a 9.
A 9. Oh, it would be easier by error. Yeah. It's a 9. I can accept it. Why can't you? It would be easier by error. Problem is, that's not what we're going for. We're going for the same, again, the presidents on Mount Rushmore. It's not about an error per se. It's about everyone that was there up to that point in time, leading the country and the best of the best. So that's why I want to leave this wide open. Billy Graham would have been a good one, but I don't see him making the top 4 because he couldn't wrestle. I mean, geez, he was Jesse Ventura wrestling. All right, so it looks like we're going 9s on Kurt Angle for his wrestling prowess. Now we got to say, Kurt Angle, was he a draw? Of course he was. Now, to what level on a scale of 1 to 10? How many? I mean, he was a world champ. Held the WWF title for, I don't know, a couple of years, didn't he?
Yeah.
Year and a half. He was in the main event picture for at least 2.5, 3 years straight in the WWE, then went on to TNA and was again world champion over there and main event draw over there. So as far as drawing power, I'm going to say he's an 8.
Yeah, I was going to say 8 also, just because towards the end of his career, it was kind of, he dropped off quite a bit due to personal issues. Tom gave him a 6 for a draw.
All right, so that's, let's see, 8 and 8 is 16 plus 6 is 22 divided by 3 is about 7.
Hold on. M. Hawk gave him a 7.
That would still make it a 7 because it was like a 7.5, and I'm not doing halves. So now we're really at a 7.
All right.
All right. So the draw, we're going with 7. Kurt Angle merch. I don't know anything by Kurt Angle. Anybody got a shirt or a hat or anything that's got Kurt?
I used to. I sold it, but I used to.
Sell.
I would.
What'd
an
you
action
sell?
figure.
No, I got action figures. You know what? Good point. Didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
It's merch. Yeah.
So I guess if I'm thinking merch
Doesn't
in
just
that
have to be-
sense, you had like Hogan, for example, has got 25,000 different versions of Hogan, and I've got probably half of that. Would I have 12 copies of Kurt Angle in different looks? No, but I probably got 3. I probably got 3. Not as much as Hogan. I got a lot of Hogan. Matter of fact, I got another one just arrived.
I would say probably for merch for me, it would be about a 7 for Angle.
That's what I was thinking was 7. TNA didn't really draw the. Well, TNA
he has a gold
TNA
medal.
was actually still doing arenas back then, though. They weren't, they were okay. Yeah. It wasn't until Vince Russo got there fucked everything up. Well, him and Dixie together, I guess. Gold medal had over its neck, automatic 10. Okay. All right, so we got 1626 divided by by 3 of us. 26 divided by 3 is 7, 8, 8. We'll call it an 8. It's actually 8.5, but 8. I ain't doing halves. And then Persona outside the ring. Boy, this is a tough one. Tough one. In the beginning, seems like he was really cool with people. No issues there. Then he went to TNA and had 1, 2, 3 DUIs. I got a real problem with somebody going out on the road multiple times, no less. And on the same roads that I drive, because he was here in Florida, Orlando. When he got the Hall of Fame, I was there because it was in Orlando, and I was there for Diamond Dallas Page. And Dallas was like the second of the night, I believe. So I stayed all the way up to the last one, which was Kurt Angle. And when they announced Kurt, I got up and left. I was just, at that moment, I was just so disgusted with the fact that they brought him back and everything else because of all that. Now, since then, they did that documentary on him, and he really opened up a lot about what was going on and things like that. Doesn't excuse the behavior, but he also took accountability for it. So I've kind of come to the point where he didn't kill nobody. I'm going to be at a 7. What are you thinking?
I will go with an 8 because I've met the man on 3 different occasions, and he is super accommodating to his fans. He is willing to talk with you, willing to take pictures. No. Honestly, I've got pictures of me and Kurt, one in a TNA ring here in Ohio, and didn't cost me a thing.
Yeah, back
I
then
had to cut my ex. I had to cut my ex-wife out of it though when we got divorced, but still. But I mean,
divorce papers.
No, that's because I didn't want her fucking picture standing on the other side of Kurt with me.
I thought you threw that at the judge. I want cropped out of his pictures with Kurt Angle. I don't want him to have me in there.
No. But again, had like you said, yes, he's had a lot of incidents outside that aren't real favorable and stuff like that. That's why I went with an 8. Had he not had those kinds of things, I'd have probably put him at a 9 or a 10 for that.
All right, so I've got a 7. You've got an 8. Tom, if Hogan and Austin are a 10, Angle's a 5. That's a good argument right there. So we had 14, 19.
M. Hall
3 is 21.
3, I think,
21 divided by 4. I should be able to do this in my head. Honestly, I'm just too damn tired. 21 divided by 4. Get over here, bitch. 5 1/4. That's a 5. That 3 brought him all the way down. All right, so Kurt Angle ends up. He's a 7. That's respectable. Let's move on. Harley Race as a wrestler. Making it believable. Jay, what do you got? 1 to 10.
I'll give him a 9.
Oh, high scores for Jay. Now, to be fair, I only watched any of his stuff right around the time he lost the title to Flair.
Right.
So I know of his latter part of his career and then his WWF run, which, come on, you know, he wasn't exactly a spring chicken. Would you give him an 8?
I gave him a 9.
You gave him a 9? Yeah. Based on my, watching him and seeing him and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to say 7.
Okay.
So I got a 7. You got a 9.
Let's
Just
see.
a white Taz. I'm not even sure what we're talking about now.
M Hawk gave him a 9. Tom gave him an 8.
That's 17. What did you give him? A 9?
Mm-hmm.
That's 26. Five of us voting on that, right? Yep.
4.
6.4. We'll call it a 6. All right. A draw. How long was he champ? He was champ for a little bit, wasn't he?
Probably about 2 or 3 years, probably.
Yeah, I was going to say he had a little bit of a run there, and even after he dropped it, he got it back usually pretty quickly until that last one to Flair.
And with the United States Championship too, he had some lengthy runs with that.
Yeah, I mean the problem again, calling the draw on this is a time frame. Wrestling in general always drew well back then because there weren't a lot of options. You know, the NBA, the NFL, NHL, it wasn't what it is today. So it wasn't like, you know, am I going to go to this football game that's going to cost me $300 a ticket? Or am I going to go watch wrestling? It's going to cost me $80 to $90 a ticket. You know, back then, all the tickets were like $5 for every damn thing.
Right.
So are you a draw or are you just a very affordable night out? Hard to tell.
Well, look at it this way. When his name was on the top of the card, did the places sell out? Absolutely.
Hey, Jay, can you believe that they didn't?
Yeah, I can believe it. I can believe it. All right. What do you guys got here for draw? 14-time, what? 4-time NWA champion. Was he 4-time? Wait a minute. Now you're confusing me, M. Hawk. He was an AWA champion too? I did not know that. Harley draw 8 all over the NWA. We got a couple of 8s there. I was going to go with 7. That's 16. Wrong phone. Got 16. I'm going to say 7. And I think Jay was going to say 8. Well, it's respectable. It's an 8. 7.75. Round that off to an 8. All right. Harley's got an 8. Okay, merch. That's going to be in the bottom of the basement right there because they really didn't have any back then, unfortunately. T-shirts, maybe. But even then, how much? And then when he was King Harley Race, he was a heel. Heels never sell, especially in the WWF back in the 90s. So early 90s at that. I'm going to have to go 4 for merch. We're on to merch now. Let's move along. Oh, that sounds like a hell of a tag team. How did I never see that? I'm going to have to Google some of that shit. Harley Race and Larry Hennig. Oof. Who wants to be in the ring for that? Got a 2 for merch. I was going 4. I guess I'm the nice guy. That's a 6. You're back.
Yes, I would have gave him an 8. So, yeah.
You did. What are we doing for merch for Harley
I know,
Race?
I heard. Merch, again, time frame, probably a 3.
That's 9.
Because unless you had some shirts at a stand, that was pretty much it. Maybe a photograph or 2.
All right, that gives them a 3 overall once you do the math. And outside the ring. I've got no stories on him outside the ring. Never heard anyone say anything good, bad, or indifferent about the man. Anybody else?
I've seen. I mean,
I literally have
No,
not
I've
even
not
heard
heard
it. With all the
anything-
shoot interviews I've listened to over the years, I've never heard anyone say.
right.
Didn't they do one of those Dark Side of the Rings on Harley?
I don't know.
And it wasn't. It's hard to say it wasn't anything bad. If it's Dark Side of the Ring, something's wrong.
M. Hawk
It was that, or
giving him a
it might have
10
just been a
outside the
documentary
ring.
on him in general, though. M. Hawk says, I got stories. He's a 10. He lived his persona. Okay, he lived his persona. That's fine, because back then they were supposed to. But, like, if you ran
Right.
into him in the store, is he going to be a douche, or is he cool?
I think for the time period, I'd probably give him a 5.
M. Hawk's saying 10. Tom Watts is saying 10. All right, so that's 25. And I'm going to say 7. I really don't even know. I'm just being reasonable. 32 divided by 4 equals. Ooh, that's wrong. Eight. Of course, I could have done that one in my head if I'd have thought about it. Harley Race comes in at a 6. Womp, womp, womp. And just like that, we have our first elimination. And that brings us to the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, styling and profiling. The man who could have a 5-star match with a broomstick. For wrestling, Ric Flair, I gotta go 9. Woo! By request. Come on, Jay, give me a number here. We got to move this along. I got a 9 for Ric Flair wrestling.
I'd go 9.
All right. What you guys got out there? 9 is good. Anybody got a number other than 9? Everybody's got 9 in their mind. Nine it is. We didn't have Ricky Steamboat, I just realized.
Right. Didn't have Macho Man either.
Oh, shit. I feel like we have to have Macho Man. Honestly, I would take Triple H out and put Macho. Triple H ain't going to beat Macho in the standings. All right. Draw. Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Back. Draw. That's a 10.
You leaving again?
Just for a minute.
Uh-huh.
When it rains, it fucking pours.
All right. We got a 10. I'm going a 10. The 1 hour man. That's true. 10. So far, everybody's saying 10. 10 it is. Merch. I got lots of Ric Flair shit. I don't know about y'all. I'm going to go 9 on merch. What are you guys thinking out there? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much Ric Flair merch do you got compared to maybe other wrestlers? I mean, not everybody buys a lot of wrestling merch, period. Which makes it more valuable if you do. So if you're one of those people that doesn't spend a lot of money on merch, but I do have a Ric Flair shirt, that says something. Got a 10, got a 9.
Merch.
All right. Merch, we're at 9. personality outside the ring. Hey, I can tell you my story. This
So
is back.
can I.
This is back when he was world champion and with the Horsemen was a heel. Buddy of mine was working security, got me backstage to hang out. And at the end of the night, the one guy I didn't see on the way in was Flair, and I had bought this little cloth banner that had a airbrush painting of him on it. It was really cool. Still have it. And I wanted to get it signed. So I'm waiting down by the elevator, and a couple of the other security guys trying to convince me he's already gone. I said, nah, I've been here, man. He ain't gone. But he was late leaving, I'll say that. And he comes out the elevator, and you got to remember, these guys travel nonstop and all that, and just got done wrestling. It's late at night. He's got his little tote bag going there behind him. And I said, champ, could you mind signing this real quick for me? And he was so cool. I mean, he was just like regular guy, no problem. Put his bag down, autographed it. Thanks for coming to the matches. You know, real quick conversation, super cool. And he heads out the back door to the parking lot where the cars are. And there's still like 10 fans on the other side of the fence waiting for the moment. And this guy, who was just 2 seconds earlier, as normal as you and I talking now, that door opens. Flair, you suck, you son of a bitch. And just like a light switch, you paid to see me, you stupid son of a bitch. Woo! So he's got my 10.
That's almost similar to my story, except mine happened in a Waffle House. So my dad had taken us to our first wrestling show over at a Veterans Memorial in Columbus. I was 8 years old. Main event was Ric Flair versus Tommy Rich in a steel cage, and they both bled like stuck pigs. It was glorious. So we leave.
Well, we do have to mention the airplane ride from hell, though, I guess. I can't go 10 anymore. I'm going to go 8.
Okay.
I'm going to go 8.
We get down the road, and Dad's like, y'all want to stop and eat? I'm like, yeah. So we stop at Waffle House. We're ordering, waiting for our food. In walks the whole carload of all 4 horsemen. Tully, Arn, Ole, and Rick. They sit down, and they start to order and stuff, and this big burly truck driver starts giving them shit, and Rick steps up and he's like, I'll whoop your ass. And from one of and starts to strut, throws his jacket down in the Waffle House, starts to strut in the Waffle House. And yeah, so barring the plane ride from hell, yes, I would probably go with a 9. It was going to be a 10, but I'll go with a 9 for that.
All right. Anybody else? I got the 7 in there. Oops.
Have a good one, Hawk.
Take care, buddy. Back to work, he says. Tell him you're busy. And what did I just do wrong? That's what, 15, 24, 34. 8.5. That's an 8. And Ric Flair is leading the board with 9. All right. We got to move the tempo with this up a little bit. So just let's start throwing numbers out as quick as we can. Okay. HBK Wrestling, I'm going to say 8.
8's respectable for HBK, yeah.
HBK, we're up to 16. Tom Watts, you still with us? What do you got? Smooth realism in the house as well. It's going to be very subjective. Yes, it is, because Bray Wyatt was a bigger draw and merch seller than a lot of wrestlers on this list. Yes, but not for as long. And that's a big category there. So the draw factor, that's where your number would have come down. Like if Bray Wyatt was on that list, his draw would not be high because they didn't book him well. It's that simple. Right. But he was not a big draw. He wasn't a main event for a long period of time. So that number would have brought him way down.
Tom's got a 9.
Tom's got a 9. That's 25 by 3. Eight it is. Okay, Shawn Michaels as a draw. I feel conflicted on this because if you listen to a lot of these podcasts, anything from a Cornette on up, they make it sound like his championship run was a complete bust, and he couldn't draw flies, and I'm like, we were watching him. I mean, I was looking forward to seeing his matches. I don't know. I mean, he was world champ for a good year. Had the Intercontinental title. Held on to that for a while.
And
AWA had the tag team titles for a while.
All you got to look at is the DX era. The numerous signs out in the crowd. You can't just tell me people were just bringing them just to bring them. They were there to see him and Triple H as DX. So for me, for a draw, I'd say a 9.
Yeah, Smooth. The thing is, we haven't got to Eddie yet, and when we do, his numbers are not. He's not going to pull a 9. I can tell you that right now. He's not going to end up beating Flair. And he's probably not going to end up beating HBK out, but we'll see how that turns out in a minute here.
Tom gave him an 8 for draw.
Yeah, I'd go with 8. What did you have?
9.
End of the day, that's an 8. 2 out of 3. All right, merch. Shawn Michaels did well with merch.
Yeah.
I mean, even going back to the Heartbreak Kid before the DX thing, DX is a whole other world, man. Yeah, he's a 9 for me for merch.
Yeah.
And again, Smooth, I'm not just going to argue that point at all. That's all factually accurate. But when you look at all 4 categories, Jake Roberts isn't going to measure up in these other categories. Doesn't mean he wasn't great. Doesn't mean he didn't bring a lot to the game and in his own way change parts of how it's done or bring maybe more focus onto certain parts of the game that people didn't pay attention to before.
Tom's got it.
But I mean, if we would have got to that persona part for Jake the Snake Roberts, it's not going to go very well. It's had a happy ending, but boy, It was rough for a long time, man, between going to jail for beating people up roadside. That happened right here. And then just that whole debacle of, the condition he let himself get into, showing up completely out of his mind for events that he was advertised for. He wouldn't have done well. And we're keeping it to 20. So, I mean, I could have made the list 40 long and we'd be here forever. I just don't have forever. Where are we on? HBK merch. I see a 9. Yeah, I would go 9 altogether because, again, even when he was HBK, he was selling the little earring things and the glasses were a sell. And then DX just blew up everything with the glow sticks alone. All right. Let's jump. Might as well jump. 9. And then, see, this is where it's going to come and get you. Right. Again, happy ending. But this ain't porn.
I'd go with a 6 here.
Overall, yeah. I'm thinking 7, to be honest with you, because of the big turnaround and what he's doing with NXT.
Right.
So I'm going to say 7. So his persona outside the ring, you got a 6 plus 7 plus who? Anybody else? Bueller.
Tom says 9. Oh, wait, hold on.
Was a 2, now at 9, so I'll say 6. That's Steiner math if ever there was. And 6 is what he'll end up with. Which gives him an 8. Ooh, angles on the bubble. All right, Dwayne. Okay, let's just get this going here. As a wrestler, in-ring performer, I'm going to say 8. What do you got, Jay?
I'll go 7. He's not really shown me too much here lately.
Nice guy. I can't believe I'm the nice guy to Dwayne.
Tom says 8.
8. Again, there is no era. This is for the career.
That's why I gave him a 7, because here recently he ain't done shit. Really, honestly.
Goldberg, you could put him on the list, but again, he's not going to make it. He's not going to get anything for a wrestler. He's not a wrestler. Draw, sure, he'll get a big number there. Merch, he'll get a big number there. Persona, he'll get an okay number, but that wrestling number is going to kill him. Same thing with Lesnar. He's a great wrestler. He's a draw. He's a merch guy. Persona, he can't take a hit. Pretty big hit. Might have been in the argument. But like I said, we got 20 names up here as it is. I don't got time to do 30 and 40 names. All right, so in this case, we have 16, carry the 1, divided by 3. Gets a 7.6. I'm going to give him the 8, thanks, rounding up. Anything over the half. Dwayne somehow pulls out an 8. Okay, draw for The Rock. Yeah, he's a draw. I mean, from the time he got with the Nation of Domination, it was straight up. And then even after that, when they took the belt off him for a little while, then the Hollywood Hogan thing came along. And what happened there at Mania, you just don't see that happen. So draw, got to say 9.
I'd have to go with 10, unfortunately, but because he's just, I know, but it's like, even now, I mean, to come give a bullshit promo in the ring, you put his name on, it sells tickets. It does. There's no denying it.
And even though his movies all suck, they do sell.
Yeah.
And he gets a 9.5. We're going to call that a 9. Merch. 10. I ain't going to argue that. We're just going 10. Persona outside the ring. Dun, dun, dun.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Oh, my goodness. Outside the ring persona for Dwayne. I've been outspoken for a long time. From the time he started going Hollywood and out of wrestling, I started to realize he was showing a different Rock than we were used to. And they always say you judge a person by the company they keep. And he's awfully chummy with Oprah Winfrey. And that is not a good person. And then what happened with Hawaii with the fires and these two most rich people in the United States of America. Hey, we need your money to help the folks of Hawaii. When you two are the biggest landowners in the state, I got problems. And then what he's done here with this final boss bullshit since getting on the TKO board, I'm going 5. And I think I'm being very generous giving him a 5.
Yeah, and that's why I said I'd go with a 5 also.
Okay, you got a 5 also. All right. Outside the ring, what do we got for Dwayne? No, the persona thing, Blitz, isn't about that. It's about how they conduct themselves. How are they with fans? How are they, with social media? Things like that. Are you a douchebag? Like, again,
I like
Scott Steiner was a really nice guy when he was a babyface, but then that same show that Flair was at that I was at, Steiners were there, and they were the babyface brother team. That's when it was really soon after the Frankensteiner was developed. It was like weeks. We'd just seen it on TV like 2 weeks earlier. And him and Rick were both up there early. You know, the wrestlers get there usually 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We were there around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And we were sitting there, minding our business like we were told to do. Didn't get up, didn't go talking to nobody. They come walking in the room, just said hi to them. That's all. Next thing I know, a few minutes later, security guy comes up. You see anybody up here? I says, well, Rick and Scott Steiner were up here a minute ago. It's like, no, they said there were some kids up here running around or something like that. I mean, back then I was like 22, so I guess. But yeah, he tried getting us kicked out, and we were absolutely respectful. We just sat there, minded our own business, and do shit. And this is back when he was a babyface, so he's a dick. And that's how that works. That's the point of Persona. How are you outside the ring? What are you too full of your own shit? That's probably the best way to cap it up, because that's The Rock. Wouldn't even look in our direction. Yeah, doesn't surprise me. All right, looks like Tom's settling on 5 as well, and that's the number we're going to have then. And that gives The Rock an 8. Ooh, tied with HBK. Dun, dun, dun. Ooh, we're going to have a face-off, possibly. All right. The Hitman, Bret Hart. Wrestling 10.
10.
10. I'm not even going to hear any objections to 10. You'll never find a technically more sound professional wrestler than Bret Hart. Draw. Here's where people will make arguments. There are those that made it sound like his title run was another flop, just like they said about HBK. And I'm like, we were buying pay-per-views, and when he was a babyface, we liked him. When he was a heel, we liked him. Or we like to hate him, whichever way you want to look at it. Either way, he was a draw. I hear a lot of crap about, and I was going to put promos in here, and I don't know why I didn't. Because I didn't want to be here for 3 hours. That's why. But he got a lot of heat for his promo skills, which I thought they weren't bad. I mean, they weren't the greatest, but I thought they were definitely respectable and worthy.
Yeah.
All right, draw. I'm going to say 8.
I'll go 8. Tom goes 7.
Tom, you just got to be difficult. You got to be. You couldn't have just said 8. Now I got to do math. It's still going to end up 8 because 2 out of 3 ain't bad. That's math. Merchandise. The Hitman did very well with merchandise. Those friggin' sunglasses. Holy shit.
Yes.
$2 to make, $25 to buy.
Gotta go 10 or not 10, 9 for merch.
He's still sitting on that sunglass money. Merch for the Hitman. What'd you say?
9.
Yeah, I'll go 9.
Tom went 9.
9. All right. It's a 9. I can accept it. Why can't you? Persona, honest to God, from the screw job on, he became a little bitchy, but you can't really blame a guy, can you?
But he
how many years of your life he gave up to that company, and even then was willing to take a lesser paycheck just to stay there? Vince just wasn't going to keep him.
Right, but he was never shitty towards the fans, and you never heard him getting into any trouble. So I would go with a 10.
I'm good with a 10. Persona. Going once, twice, thrice. I need numbers, and I need them quickly. He also thinks is the best there was, best there will be. That's because he is the best there was, the best there ever will be. He's going 8. That's going to bring us down to a 9. You had to do it, didn't you? You had to do it. That's okay. He still gets a 9 overall. And hold on a moment. 9, 8, 8, 9. Angle is officially eliminated. Who's next up on the list?
The Dead Man.
It doesn't
Had to get one in there. The Undertaker as a wrestler. I'm going to say 9 because, man, he really did a lot of good wrestling. I mean, it wasn't just club him and stuff him stuff. And then towards that end when he was mixing in the MMA stuff.
Right.
So, yeah, for me, I'm going to say a 9.
Was he as technically sound as some of the others? No. I'll go with an 8 for Undertaker for wrestling.
Okay. And it's not all about technical sound. It's just everything he did it look good, like his clothesline. So
Right,
he's a clothesline, elbow, leg drop kind of guy, but he made them all look good. And the fact that some bitch would dive over the top rope to the floor.
Yeah. And he didn't get his feet caught on the top rope when he did it.
Well, except for that
Francis.
last time. Except for that last time. And then they blamed the shit out of the cameraman who was, what's his name there, Snooker's son.
Yeah.
For not catching him. He's how are you going to catch him? The motherfucker fell 2 feet short.
So we got 8 from Tom and 10 from Smooth.
That's 18. I said 8. What did you give him?
An 8.
I had 9 then. Yeah, I was one more than you. Divided by 4. Why is it doing this to me? 18, 17. There we go. It's a 9. 875 gives him a 9. The draw factor. Undertaker was definitely a fucking draw. Whether he was champion or whether it was a casket match or Tuesday in Texas, didn't matter. He was a draw.
Yeah, I got to go 10 on draw. Yep.
10. Yeah, Smooth was with me on that size thing. 10 easy. The fact that he was able to keep up with much smaller dudes, insanely athletic, continues to evolve. Easy 10, yeah.
Tom's
Yeah,
got
make
a
sure
10
you're
for
putting the
draw.
word. Don't just put a number down. Make sure you're putting the word as to what your number represents. All right, so we all had 10. Is that correct?
Smooth came in with a 9.5, so.
That's his way of saying 10. Never mind. I was going to lock it, but I'm not going to go through that. Merch. Okay, 10.
And
Again, no point. Persona outside the ring. Guy was always in character. Never heard a bad word about him.
yeah, I can agree with that.
And he ends up, even though he's got a 9 in the wrestling category, he ends up with a 10 as a rounded up number. Our leader. And now, what does that leave us? These 2 8s are still in trouble. Somebody's going to have to go out of these 8s. But if we get another 9, that'll take care of him. Bob Backlund, as a wrestler, he's a 9 in my book.
9.
Blaze Radio in-house. What's up, McCoy? Yeah, that's not much of a Mount Rushmore, buddy.
Tom
I
went 8.
didn't see Vince McSham's name on there once, you bitch. Bob Backlund is a wrestler. I got 9. Tom's got 8. What do you got, Jay?
9.
McCoy, you want to weigh in on this? Bob Backlund, scale of 1 to 10, wrestling, just wrestling itself.
Smooth went 7.
Ah, shit. All right, that's going to bring it down to 8. Again, don't just throw a number, though. Make sure you put what it is. So if it's wrestling, put wrestling 7 or 7 wrestling. Because sometimes when we're going over the chat, they can kind of jumble up with different stuff we've been talking about. And again, we're not doing promo stuff. I probably could have, would have, and should have. But because we're trying to run through 20 names here, and I don't want this to be a 2.5-hour stream, I had to decide what to keep in and what to keep out, and that would have been in a 5th category, and I really wanted to keep it to 4. And if we were doing promo skills, Backlund would have a 1. If you've never seen a Bob Backlund interview, all you got to do is watch one, and you're good. They're all the same, and it will. If you're having insomnia moments, find old wrestling, Bob Backlund cutting a promo. You'll be asleep in 30 seconds or less.
But then he gets in the ring, and you wake right back up.
Well, not really, but for its time. I mean, back then, wrestling was still real, damn it. And he was a legitimate wrestler. He gave legitimacy to it because he was a collegiate standout. And he wrestled and even coached wrestling to high school kids and would do little things on Saturday morning TV showing different wrestling techniques. So from that aspect, he was kind of the good guy, the Opie Taylor kind of thing, from back in the Mayberry days. But that would never sell.
Right.
They barely got him the title when he went against Bret Hart. And that lasted for all of a week.
I always liked his wrestling in the ring. That's why I was always drawn to people like Kurt Angle or
me too.
Dean Malenko or Chad Gable. I mean, these guys that had these college, and Brock Lesnar to an extent, he had a college background. He could actually wrestle when he wanted to.
Again, Smooth, Tom, I'm not arguing with you guys. Yes, promos are massively important because if you do a really good promo, you can overcome the fact that you might not be a great in-ring performer. The old saying, going to talk them into the building, right? That all said, that to me all ties into the draw. Like you just said, if you talk well, you draw well. Now, if we end up with a tiebreaker, we're going to add promo as a tiebreaker. So we'll see how that turns out. Right now, we got a couple of 8s here between HBK and The Rock. And then if we had to take that, that's another tough one, but I think it's pretty obvious Rock's going to win that if it came down to promo. All right, Bob Backlund, we got to move.
Sean had some good ones.
Got to move here. Let's go. Draw for Bob Backlund. Again, time and place.
8.
Yeah, 8's a good number. He was selling out the Garden. He was selling out the Boston Garden, Philadelphia Spectrum, and that's back when it was only, that corner of the globe that was really WWF.
Tom went 7.
2 out of 3. He gets an 8. Won't matter. He ain't going to be around. Merch, 0. Didn't have it.
Smooth went 8 for draw, if that changes anything.
No, again, majority of us all said 8.
Okay.
Persona, 3. and he held, but here's the thing. He held the title for 6 years.
Yeah.
But it was a different place, a different time. And like I said, when they tried bringing him back in the early 90s, I was excited because, I remember. But it didn't go over with the crowd. That's why you had to be that raging lunatic just to have a personality. Anyway, Bob Backlund finishes with a 5 thanks to that merch and persona. Rowdy Roddy Piper as a wrestler, in-ring performer, 1 to 10. I'm going to say 8.
8.
8. I didn't give Harley a 4. We gave Harley a 4. Who are you giving a persona 5 to? Backlund?
Yep.
Were you smoking during his promos? Trust me, it would be necessary. Piper's got a 7. I have an 8. Or Tom giving Piper a 7. I got an 8. What do you got, Jay?
I got 8.
8. 2 out of 3. Anybody else want to drop a dime on this real quick? All right, 8 it is. Got to move. Drawing power, easily an 8. I mean,
I was about to say 8 also.
Yeah, I almost said 9. I mean, there's no WrestleMania without Roddy Piper. Which after last year's is making me think maybe we should have gone and beat his ass. We wouldn't have had WrestleMania 41 if it wasn't for that damn Roddy Piper. Draw 8. All right, we're all seeing 8s. Crazy 8s for Roddy Piper. Merch. He didn't do bad. Action figures, not bad.
I go 7.
T-shirts are pretty popular. Even now, you'll see people wearing the Hot Rod shirts. I'm going to say 8. You got what? 7?
7. 6 from Tom.
6, 7, 8. 7 it is. And Persona outside the ring. Again, this is a guy who stayed in character all the time, but he was always just a really genuine person from everything I've ever heard about him. I never got to meet him, unfortunately. I wish I could say I did. In his latter years of his life, he was definitely shaken up by the loss of so many people that he worked with. He had that little stint there where he did the HBO interview that ended his WWF run at the time. But again, you heard the pain in his voice when he was saying all the stuff he was saying. So for me, he's a 9. He's just a really solid family guy.
Smooth's got 9. Tom's got 8, and I'll go 8 also for.
That's 8.5 at the end of the day. And we've been rounding the half down, so 8. And that gives Piper overall an 8. We have a 3-way tie. Beautiful. Now, if we would have had promo strictly, we'd be saying goodbye to Bret Hart and or HBK and The Rock. We'd be saying goodbye to them. Well, at least HBK. Yeah. I don't know about The Rock. The Rock might still be in the fight. And then finally.
And what you gonna do when Hulkamania and the largest arms in the world run wild on you?
All right, this first category is going to be questionable, but I'll throw my 2 cents out there for what it's worth. I'm giving him an 8. Now, I know people are going to cringe, but let's go into detail. If you haven't watched the man's work in Japan, then you don't know. He can fucking wrestle. Not now, but then he could. Vince wouldn't let him wrestle. You're just going to be the big hulking force and beat the shit out of people, and that's it. And that's what he did. As soon as he went to WCW, me and my buddy had second row seats in Orlando when he won the title from Flair. And early in the match, he did a go behind drop toe hold. And me and my buddy were like, holy shit, he can wrestle. And he heard us and looked up and smiled and nodded at us. You can see it on the video. So Hogan's going to get an 8 from me. Now, his punches were horrible. Worst punches in the business. That's why I'm going 8.
Tom went 7. Smooth went 7.
2 7.
I'll go 7 also.
So we're going to say 7. All right. 7 and draw. That's a 10.
Yeah.
There's nothing to be decided.
Shit out. You're right.
Merch 10. Between the Hulkamania and the NWO. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Raggy. We got a problem, Houston. Persona. Shit's about to get real in here.
Seattle. Miro.
Oh, good Lord. I don't know how you can go above a 5.
I'm giving 5. Him a 3.
Yeah, I'm being really nice with a 5.
You're being real nice.
Tom, Persona. Well,
Tom went 5 also.
So 2 5s and a 3. We're gonna give him a 4. Well, what do we end up with? An 8. Gosh damn, these 8s.
Smooth threw in a 5, so I don't know if that'll change it or not.
What were the other scores? I had a 5. He had a 5. What were the other ones?
I had a 3, and I gotta find where it's at now.
No, that's all right. It's still going to stay a 4.
It was
All
3
right.
5s and a 3.
Oh, it's 3 5s? In that case, it's a 5.
Yeah.
Majority wins.
Y'all saved him.
Yeah, but it didn't do anything. His number still stays in 8. His overall
Jesus.
ranking. All right, Mr. Eddie Guerrero, Latino Heat wrestler.
9.
I'm going 8.
Okay.
What do you guys got out there in the chat? You don't even have to word the word. You don't have to write the word wrestler. Wrestling. You can just put a W, and I'll know what that is. Same thing with
9
Raw,
and
Merch,
10.
and Persona. 9 and 10. You had a 9. I had an 8. Boy, 8, 9, 10.
Yep.
It's gonna be a 9. Draw. I'm gonna say 7.
8.
We got 7 and an 8 draw for Hot Eddie Guerrero, Latino Heat. I almost said hot stuff.
I think if he hadn't passed away when he did, it would have been higher for me, unfortunately.
It might have been. Yeah, I mean, there's all these what ifs. Same thing I say. Magnum TA. What if? Anytime I see a Magnum TA match, I always think to myself, what would he have done in the WWF? I mean, who would he matched with? Everyone agrees that he was going to end up there. So a lot of
said 6.
unwritten history. Tom said 6. Ouch!
Yeah.
Thought I was being. Cool.
I agree, Tom. Yeah,
6, 7, 8.
That's why I said if he hadn't passed away when he did. Smooth said 6 also. But
Yeah, I just caught that. So we're gonna go with 7 overall. Eddie Merch.
Yeah.
He sold some T-shirts. He sold.
I know.
action figures.
I was going to say 9. I
Oh,
know.
I
I've got mine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if he sold that much.
I got mine.
I don't know if he sold
It's
that
a
much.
WrestleMania one too.
I got a WrestleMania 80 too. I don't know if it's the same one as yours. Yeah, I'm gonna go 7. What did you have? 9?
I had 9. Tom had 7. Smooth did 6.
Yeah, so that puts us at a 7 overall. Meeting in the middle there. Persona outside the ring. I don't know any stories about Eddie outside the ring. I've never heard a bad thing about him. Seems like a cool dude.
Most of the stuff outside the ring was more destructive to himself than anybody. So,
Well, yeah, but that's everybody on the list.
well, I know. I'm just saying. I'll go 8 on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say 8. I saw him blackout wasted. Yeah, like I said, they all do that. So we got a 7, 8, 8, 8. All right, 8 is the final number. 8. And we got a lot of 8s right now, man. This tiebreaker is going to come down to promo skills, I feel. And that brings us to the Icons. Ding! I can't do it today. As a wrestler, I'm going to go 8. Again, guys, just put the W and the number. That's all I need. W and the number.
8, yeah.
Got a couple of 8s. Anybody else? Eight it is.
Smooth jumped in with an 8. So yeah, change.
Draw Sting. Pretty solid draw. I'm gonna say 9. I'm gonna say 9.
Yeah, I'd go with 9 for the draw also.
Again, you can just put
Even
the letter
when he
G.
was Surfers, got an 8 and a 9.
And I had a 9. What was your number, Jay?
9.
All right. That gives us 9. Merch did real well there, too. I'm going to say 9. Oh, we got a
Yeah,
10.
yeah. I'd go 9.
2 9s and a 10. Anybody else? Bueller? Smooth?
Smooth criminal.
Yeah, I always think of that too when he comes on.
8 for merch
Smooth
from
really
Smooth.
Ouch. Did he owe you money?
Maybe he didn't get something he ordered. I mean, that would piss me off. That'd drop a couple notches.
That brings us to a 9. Outside the ring, same thing. He had a
10.
little window of time there where he was a problem child, mostly for himself, I guess. I don't know that I've ever heard a bad story about him and what he's doing in the last decade of his life and turning his life over to Christ. And he's had that thing where he goes around with Luger and Nikita Koloff, spreading the word of religion and God and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna say 9.
I said 10. Tom says 10. Smooth says 7.
And that's a 9. And he gets an overall 9. Wait a minute. That changes things up a little bit. Hold the phone. We have a 9, a 10. We got 2 9s. All right. So, everybody with an 8. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. Bob Backlund with a 5. Got to go. And now look at how it's looking here. Ric Flair, Bret Hart, Undertaker. Mm-hmm. Did we lose Hogan? Yeah,
Yep.
we lost Hogan.
Shit
What
you do
happens when
outside
you-
the ring fucks you up.
That's what happens when you spew shit all the time, man. And this is why this is the way to do it. Because, yes, if you look at merch and draw, he's all there. But then you get down to the person. Damn, that's unfortunate. I'm reminded of the episode of Family Guy where Peter's at the checkout line at the cash register, and there's a magazine there. What was her name? The actress from Jewel of the Nile.
Oh,
Shit, the
Shit.
blonde.
yeah.
The fuck's her name? Oh, I can see her face.
Michael Douglas and
Yeah. Kathleen Turner.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so he's over there. Peter's waiting in line, sees the magazine, says, "Oh, what's this? Hey, a magazine. Oh, okay. Oh, Kathleen Turner. See what she looks like today. Okay. That's a shame."
Yeah.
And that's kind of Hogan outside the ring. Hulk Hogan has got great number 7, 10, 10, 4. What? That's a shame. All right. That brings us up to, oh, hell yeah. Stone Cold Steve Austin as a wrestler. I'll tell you right now, I know I'm the only one that's going to say this. I like the Ringmaster. He didn't. No one else did, but I did. Because
I loved
was
him back in
wrestling.
WCW with
TV title.
Brian Pillman. Him and Pillman as the Hollywood Blondes. Yep.
Yeah, they were an awesome team. So
I'll go
I'm going
8.
to start us off. I'm going to say Stone Cold Wrestling, and then you look at that match with Bret fucking Hart where they did the double turn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a 9. I'm giving him a 9.
Tom gave him a 9. I gave him
There's
an
a
8.
9. Who gave him an 8?
I did.
Damn, I can silence you.
Hey. Smooth gave him a 9.
All right, that's enough 9s. That's his number.
Yeah.
9. 9.
Hey, welcome in DHW. He gave him a 9 too. So
DH in the house. Jay, are you listening to everybody? He's a 9, man. He's a fucking 9.
it's okay.
8. It's no 8. It's a 9. Draw. 10.
10. Tom gave 10.
Yeah, I mean, you can't not give a 10. The guy was a friggin' monster draw. Merch, still to this
10.
day. Persona outside the ring. Oh, ooh. Damn. Got a lot to take in on that one. I don't care about the walking out on the job thing because of the way the business was being run for that particular situation where they wanted him to job clean to Brock Lesnar on free TV with no buildup. I get that. I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm not doing that. But then you got the whole marital problems to the point of did he hit her? That kind of shit.
Yeah, that's what Tom just brought up. Yep.
And he did run a fan over at WrestleMania this year.
Well, technically didn't run him over, knocked the barricade.
That's not what her lawyer's going to say.
Well, we got 7 from Tom, 7 from Smooth.
Yeah, I'm in the 7s as well.
I was going to go 8.
But you'll be outranked in the 7s. So we'll go with the 7s. And that gives him a 9. We got 1 9, 2 9s, 3 9s, 4 9s. Somebody's 9 is out of time. Unless we get another 10 up here.
Gave him a 7, so.
All right. Oh, yeah. Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah. Wrestling. Macho Man. Granted, all his matches are rehearsed, but I don't give a fuck. They look good in the ring.
I'd go 9.
Macho Man and Steamboat. Come on, man. I'm going 9.
DHW 10.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
8 from Smooth. And 8 from Tom.
2 8s, a 9, and a 10. And that's going to hover and float right around. Did you give me a number, Jay?
Yeah, 9. So it's
Yeah,
2
that's what I
8s, 2 9s, and a 10.
Yeah. So 9 it is. Draw. Macho Man was a draw. Even going back to Mid-South, man. I mean, he was always a draw.
Yeah.
That personality. He had the personality. I'm going to say 9.
I'll go 8.
9 and 8. What do you guys got out there for draw for the Macho Man, Randy Savage?
Tom 8.
Couple of 8s.
9.
2 9s, 2 8s. That's 8.5. Next number wins.
Wayne on said IRS would get a
IRS would get a
W2.
W2. That's cool.
9 from Smooth.
All right, so 9. The tiebreaker is in. Merch. Savage did well. I mean, he didn't have access. I mean, the wrestling figures, no problem there. If we want to incorporate Slim Jim into that, then he's doing really well.
Right.
I always love. That's my favorite part of the Eric Bischoff Monday Night War stories. And then when we got Macho Man, we also got this $750 million deal with Slim Jim. Like shit. Or it might have been 750,000, actually. It might not have been a million, but it was still a big chunk of fucking change because he was tied to their contracts. And when they got him, they got the money from the Slim Jim as well.
Right.
So I'm going to say 9.
Okay. I was going to say 9. We got 10 from both Tom and Smooth.
So that'd be a 9.5, and that rounds down to 9. Persona outside the ring. I don't recall really, other than him and Hogan having their on again, off again beef. I don't recall anything tragic, about him being mean or asshole. Even with him and Liz and what went down there, it was never any physicality. It was just, relationship ended.
Right.
He was overbearing a bit. Sounds like
overprotective, jealous. Yeah, but he never. From everything I've heard, he never laid a hand on her. So
yeah. And I don't think he did. So, all right, I'm going to give him an 8.
I'll go 9. Smooth said 6. Tom said 7. DHW said 7.
At the end of the day, we're going to hover in the 8. And that gives us another fucking 9. Holy shit. This is why I didn't want to do 20 names. Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, baby.
9.
You're fucking like a monkey, baby. Wrestling, baby. We're talking wrestling right now. The American Dream. How do you rate the American Dream as a wrestler, baby? Give me a number, baby.
DHW said 9.
Ooh, that's a good number. I like that number. I'm going with 8.
Smooth said 8. So we got 2 9s, 2 8s. Waiting on Tom.
What was your number?
9. Tom said 7. You did have to be different than everybody else.
You know what they say? Opinions are like assholes. Everybody got one. They all stink. Draw. Boy, it was a draw. 9.
9.
I don't even know how you can argue anything lower than a 9.
We will see.
I've already got it typed in the box because I'm not going to accept any number like a 7 for a draw. That's just absurd.
Tom said 9.
Yeah. All right. We're on the right
9
page.
DHW.
Merch. Interesting category. So he had some T-shirts and stuff closer to WCW time at the end of his career. And even his WWF run, he had some merch there. But when you look at like the Hasbro line, for those of you guys that collect those things and know, his action figure, for whatever reason, was incredibly hard to locate because they didn't have as many of them for whatever reason. I had one.
They didn't think they would sell, and they sold them out.
Yeah, well, they sold them out to the point where you hardly. I literally bought the only one I ever saw, and that's when I was going on a regular basis to Toys R Us trying to collect all the wrestling shit I could get my hands on. So yeah, and then I just sold that a couple of years ago with my whole collection. So it's hard to sell stuff when they don't put it out there.
Right.
But overall, I would say he was at probably an 8. I'm going to say he was an 8. In merch.
I was going to go with 8. Tom said 7. Smooth said 10. Everyone knows this
my
man.
Mom knows
My mom
him.
knows. Yeah.
Hey, if Mama
And
Realism knows, if Mama Smooth knows Dusty and she ain't a wrestling fan, then that means merch works. So
And DHW said 8.
So we got some 8s. You got a 10, a 7, and mine and yours, and that'll give him a 9 overall. Persona outside the ring, never heard a bad word
10.
about the man. And the way he works with young people and what he did for folks at NXT and
No shit.
FCW, and even before that when he was with Eddie Graham and all that shit. I'm going 10. I mean, he's the guy you want on your team.
Yeah, we got 10, 10, 8.
Who's 8? Who's 8?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. What was that for?
Yeah, see, that's why you got
to.
You also put a letter with your number. So, like, if it's for wrestling, put W in the number. Draw, put D in the number. You know what I'm saying? So we know what number we're looking at, because as this thing rolls along, we get them all mixed up. And then Jay's little brain fries on me, and then I got to, give him beer and stuff.
Hey, I've been keeping up pretty good here, so.
You've been pretty good here. And we got another 9. Gosh damn it. Oh, wow. If that comes down to a promo battle,
Death gets guided with the
Dusty?
promo battle.
Who wants Dusty? All right. The Doctor of Thugonomics in the house. John Cena as a wrestler, 7. Until you get rid of that gaping window in your STF, you got a 7. You could drive a Boeing through that window.
DHW said 6. 7 for Tom.
2 7s and a 6. Sounds like my last couple of dates.
I would have to go with 7 on that.
7 is the lucky number, unless you're John Cena. Draw. 10.
10.
You can't argue the 10. You can't argue it. Merch. 10.
10.
Is there an 11 option? He is selling out of T-shirts every arena he goes to, and each one is different. There are people out there that are collecting each friggin' T-shirt from his stops, and they're like $35 a pop.
Right.
Persona. Interesting. So, and we can keep in mind that some of this stuff that happens on like Total Divas and all that kind of shit is somewhat choreographed and staged. But at the same time, his house rules, I believe that was all authentic. Having people have to show up wearing like suit and tie for dinner, you know, that kind of stuff there.
I mean, that's his house. If you don't want to go eat there, don't wear a suit and tie, I guess.
No, but there were like guests that were coming over or something, or maybe they were spending a holiday weekend there. Yeah, it just seems, I mean, seriously, kind of seems weird. You're going to make people dress up like it's church just to eat dinner. That's literally all it was for. Then you go upstairs, change back into your shorts and T-shirt. I don't know. For me, I'm going to say 8. Well, no,
Okay.
you know what? I'm back up to a 9 because all that gets overweighed by the fact that he is the leader all time in Make-A-Wish.
Right.
And it's not even close. There's nobody anywhere in the radar.
Right.
So we're
Tom
at a 9.
said 8. DHW said 7.5. Smooth's 10. I was going to go 9.
Yeah, Smooth also had the Make-A-Wish thing too.
Right.
All right. We're going to give the boy the 9 and another 9. Ooh, battle promo between him and Dusty would be fun.
Dusty still got him with the working man promo. There's nothing that beats that promo. Nothing.
Well, again, we're not talking about specific promos because then we're going to have a pipe bomb against the, you know, Hard Times promo.
Who taught promo class at the developmental center? Dusty did. John didn't.
Well,
Dusty did.
No, I'm talking about Punk and Dusty. But let's get to Punk.
No,
Wrestling.
Okay.
For CM Punk, I'd go 9.
I can agree with that. 9.
You got 2 9. CM Punk.
10.
Give me a W number.
HW.
W number. So we know that we're talking about the same thing. W7.
Tom's. Yep.
Because DHW has a 10 and a 9. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know what it is. So put the first letter of the category we're on so we know what we're talking about. 7? Really? Damn. Some cold shit right there.
Let's see. DHW 9 wrestling. Smooth 8 wrestling. Tom 7 wrestling. And
That
we
Randy
had
Orton
9.
is trash.
He used to do it better back in the day. When he did it on Saturday, yeah, it looked horrible.
All right, we're at an 8. Okay, fair enough. Draw. Come on.
9.
I'm going 10. They were chanting his fucking name louder than anybody in the building when he wasn't even in the promotion.
Yeah.
He wasn't in any promotion.
We got 9.
He's got to be a 10. He's got to be a 10. I'll go 9. I think you're drinking something funny, but it's all right. Merch. Oh, brother. Never been a
10.
problem for him. I'm saying 9.
DHW 9. Merch 9.
What do you got for it, Jay? Merch.
I said a 10 because he's right up there since being back. Got
I'm
2
gonna go 9.
8s for merch.
Yeah, we'll settle on 9 because I was going to go 9 too. So that'll weigh down the 9 category. Outside the ring, dun dun dun.
8.
It's not even outside the ring; it's inside the ring too. Because with AEW, he was wearing these trans T-shirts or whatever. I don't remember exactly what it was now, but
Ooh.
oh no, it was actually abortion rights T-shirts. He was wearing them to the ring.
Right.
So yeah, for me, that's a big no-no. You're in wrestling, you got to leave that shit. It's bad enough you got social media where we're still going to hear like Dwayne, but when I'm paying to watch you wrestle, I don't want your hey, I think it's okay to kill a baby up to 8 months. I don't want to see that on the shirt that you're wearing down to the ring. So that all said, I'm going to give him a 7, and I'm being kind.
Okay.
What do you got?
I went 8.
That's 7 and 8.
Tom went 3. DHW went 8. DHW went 8, and Smooth went 6 for outside.
That gives us a 7. CM Punk, meet Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan,
down.
CM Punk. And that gives him an 8.
That means
that
he's
is
out.
Mathematically eliminated. You couldn't really put him up on the Mount Rushmore. That grease in his hair would just keep pouring down the side. All right, Bruno Sammartino wrestling 9.
9.
9. Sound like a German soldier in the 40s. 9.
Tom gave an 8. DHW a 9.
This dude can't cross any bridges anymore because he burned them all. Touche, Monsieur Pussycat. All right, what do we got here? 8, 9. What's yours, Jay?
9.
2 8s, 2 9s. That's an 8.5, which is an 8. Draw. Bruno Sammartino was 8-year champion. That's a 10. And he filled up every damn arena. Yep. Bruno draw 10.
2 8s, 3 10s.
That's still 9.5. That's a round up to 10. You don't have an 8-year title reign unless you're drawing merch. They didn't have any Bruno merch. There really wasn't, other than the ticket itself. That was about it. Back then, merch wasn't a thing. Unfortunate.
I mean,
can't give him a number. I mean, I guess you could technically, like with the what were the big rubber guys? Was that Galoob? No,
that was Jax.
Jax, the big rubber? No.
Yeah. Let me pull my guy down here real quick.
Was that Albano?
Come here. Yeah, Captain.
Was it Jax?
Oh, it just says Titan Sports on the back here. It doesn't have anybody.
Check the feet, the bottom of the feet.
Oh.
LJN, that's the answer.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So anyway, LJN did come up with LJN came up with a Bruno Sammartino figure, which I bought, and now it's sold.
Well, I was also going to say that there's also been newer figures of Bruno out. I've got 2 or 3 cards of Bruno from the sets of cards that are out, so there is merch out there for him.
A little bit. So I'm going to give him a 3 because that's really, I think, all I could possibly, not through any fault of his own.
Yeah, DHW 6 for merch, 3 from Tom,
12,
6 from
4.
Smooth.
That brings us to 5. What do you got?
3.
All right, we're going to settle on
Because
the
there's a
5.
little bit out there.
Actually, it's 4.5, so it's a 4. Yeah, it was just a before his time thing. Persona. Not a bad persona. I mean, it wouldn't hold up in the 90s or anything like that, but for the 70s and 80s, yeah, I think he was pretty solid. I'd go again. You sold out and you were a champion for 8 years, so obviously you were doing something right. I would say 8.
I was bouncing between 8 and 7. I'll go 8 also.
And I was bouncing between 8 and 9.
Smooth said 7.
Really?
DHW 8.
That's what I'm talking about.
Tom 8.
And 8 it is. And 8 he is. And that means join CM Punk. Thank you for playing. Goodbye. Andre the Giant. Oh, this is going to be tricky. If you haven't seen Andre wrestle in the very early 70s, then you haven't seen Andre the Giant, because Andre threw a drop kick, a good one.
Yes.
Andre did wrestle when he physically was able to. Did that last long? Not that long, no. If we want to talk about like from WrestleMania on, it was just all decline, and none of it looked good. I would say the majority of his career is what I'm looking at, and in that, I give him a 6.
Okay. I was going to go 7. DHW went 10. Smooth.
No, he did not.
Yeah, he did.
Not for Andre.
Smooth. Yep. Smooth and Tom went 6.
Yeah. DHW, that 10 is not for Andre wrestling, is it?
It's a W.
Yeah, but I think that was for Bruno.
No, that's after. That's at the bottom of the list here.
Let's see if he updates this.
He did. He changed it to 6.
Because if you would have told me that was for Andre, I was going to try and get your address and send some EMTs over there to make sure you're okay.
I gave him a 7 because I saw him wrestle in Japan. I
gave him a 6 because I saw him wrestle. You were in Japan?
No, but I've seen the tapes of him wrestling in Japan.
Joking.
And he's another one.
Like I said, I've seen
really
matches where he
matches.
did wrestle, but when you're looking at the span of his career, that was maybe the first 3 years, and after that, it just quickly declined. So, as an overall, I would say 6. Draw. He was a draw. They
10.
referred.
Yeah.
You could. I mean, they called him an attraction back then, right? Was Andre ever really you got WrestleMania 3, and I guess you could argue to a degree WrestleMania 4. Even the first WrestleMania with Stud, but he was one of the reasons you were there. He wasn't the reason you were there. I'm going to say 9. You can't dispute he was a ticket seller.
Okay. You said 9. I said 10. Tom said 9. DH said 6.
Ouch. That brings us down to 7.5. Anybody else getting?
Smooth said 10.
Did Smooth say 10 or did Smooth's mom say 10? Oh, there it is again. Mom knows.
Draw is 10 because, draw is 10 because my Latina mom knows him.
Anytime a non-wrestling fan knows, I mean, you can go up to anybody in the world and say Hulk Hogan, they know who he is. If they've never seen a match, they know who he is.
Yeah.
Andre merch. Didn't have a lot of merch. Had some action figures. Had a couple. He had that T-shirt with the big red handprint, which is actual size handprint.
Right.
Clever idea, by the way, whoever came up with that. I'm going to say 6.
Okay.
What do we got for merch? Got a 7.
2 7s and a 6.
2 2 6s, 2 7s. What do you got, Jay?
7.
7 wins. Pay the man. Persona. Oh, Andre was not
10.
good outside the ring. He was. The stories are rampant about how horrible he was with fans. Now, granted, when you're his size and you're traveling and you're getting squashed into seats that don't fit you and you're sleeping in beds that don't fit you, you're going to probably be grouchy. But, man, all of these shoot interviews with people that were with him, Bobby Heenan, I just saw one the other day. You know, fans come up to him and say, hey, I was just wondering, can I get you? And he just looked at these little kids and goes, no autograph. You know, and there's so many of those stories. I mean, lots of them. I'm going to say 4.
Okay.
That's me. I'm going with 4.
DHW said 10. Tom said 7. I haven't heard any of those stories, so I was just basing it on what. Yeah, I was just basing it on what I've seen. Like the interviews I've seen of people who did Princess Bride with him said an incredible guy he was.
The cast is fine. We're talking about how are you with the fans, the people that are making you this person. You wouldn't have had Princess Bride without wrestling fans.
Yeah. Smooth said
I'm telling
6.
you. All right, so that's 10, 17, 27, 33. What was your number?
I'll drop it down to 9.
Oh, shit. 42 by 5. Okay. Now you're going to see all these shoot interviews just because we were talking about it. And see, I'm going to find a couple and send them to you. I cannot believe you haven't heard those stories. And again, I get it. I mean, it's got to be a tough life. By the way, Andre's already out of the competition though with a 7. And then finally, number 20 on the list, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, wrestling 10. Not all wrestlers loved him, Smooth. There were a lot of people that just, he didn't like you and he'd fuck with you. All right, we got wrestling 9.
Right, Tom said 9.
10. We got 2 10s plus minus, 3 10s and a 9. What do you got, Jay?
I was going to go 9.
You can go 9. It's all right. All right, we're going to give him an overall 9 then. Draw. Not as good as it could have been. He did okay with the AWA World title. The AWA wasn't like burning the place down or anything with TV and all that at that time, so didn't have a lot platform-wise to work with, but he did okay. Had a good run with Hogan, in particular at the top there. Had that Intercontinental title run, went for a while. But was he the draw? He could have been if they would have given him the damn ball. We'll never know.
That's what Smooth just said, yeah.
Yeah, what's that? 7 draw. That's what I was just about to say was 7.
Said the same thing.
But it could have been 10 if push. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Everything. Yeah. Including the 7s. Jay, you got a number?
I was going to go 7.
You just did. 7. Merch. Perfect didn't have a ton of merch. And again, heels generally don't. Action figures, obviously. Had mine. Trying to think, really. I mean, he had the Mr. Perfect t-shirts, I guess. Wasn't a whole lot of merch for Perfect. I'm going to say 5.
No.
Got a 6 there.
Got
6 there.
8. Yeah.
I got a 5. What do you got?
I'd go 5 because there wasn't that much for him.
5 gets the win.
5 for Smooth.
Persona outside the ring. I've heard he's a great guy outside the ring. And never heard anything different about him. He's a joker, like to cut up a lot, practical jokes on the guys. I'm going to say 9.
I was going to go 8.
We got
Tom says
another
8.
9. We got
DH
2 8s, 2
says
9s.
9.
2 8s, 2 9s. Who's
All
gonna
up
break
to
the tie?
Smooth.
Smooth criminal. Dun, 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 dun. Oh,
Ooh, he went
leave it to
7.
him. 8 gets the win. And that brings us to a 7. Thanks for playing perfect. If you'd have gotten the push that you should have got, that number would probably be better. All right.
Yeah.
You got to narrow it down to 4. We've got Undertaker, who is safe.
Yeah.
Everybody else is now down to promos.
That's a lot of 9s.
So we're just going to go in order. Ric Flair head-to-head with Bret the Hitman Hart. Who wins? Promos. I think we know the answer.
Unfortunately, it's got to go Rick for that.
Ric Flair has eliminated the Hitman. There's no arguing that. Come on. Promos. Sting versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Ooh. We can only take 3 people to the finals, so that means we got to get rid of 3.
Tom said Austin.
Yeah, I would go Austin over Sting with the promos for sure. I would. Jay, what you said?
Hold on.
Yeah, Austin over Sting, easy. I
Okay.
agree.
Smooth said Austin. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. That should be
All right.
DHW Austin. Yeah. As much as I like this Crow Sting and stuff, his promo. Now, Surfer Sting had some pretty decent promos. I was watching one the other day where, did I offend you?
They were good.
Did I offend you? And Paulie's like, yes, you did offend me.
Oh,
and
yeah,
he just
I saw that
starts laughing maniacally.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, overall.
But they weren't
Cold,
on the
yeah,
same
it's gotta
page
go.
as Stone Cold.
No.
All right. That brings us to Macho Man head-to-head with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Ooh. Are we here for a cup of coffee? Or are we going to talk about hard times, baby? I would say Dusty over Macho, but boy, it ain't easy.
DHW said Macho.
Okay, so I got a Dusty
No,
and
it's
I got a
not
Macho.
easy, but
it's 1-1. What do you got,
I don't
Jay?
know. I said Dusty.
All
His
right,
promos
so
hit me in
2-1.
the feels, so I got to go Dusty. Machos were
2-1,
good, but
Dusty over
Dusty's
Macho.
Yeah, Dusty makes me feel. M Hawk.
Dusty. Thinking.
Tom's like, hold on. Yeah. It's a tough one. It really is. But yeah, I got to take Dusty over.
Yeah, I think we have the votes in.
Tom said
point.
Dusty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite Randy promos was actually when he was in WCW, and it was him and Sting in a pay-per-view match. I forget who they were going against, and probably NWO. And they're in the back locker room there with Gene, and Macho's just pacing back and forth. Macho Man, if I could have a moment of your not talking. And he just kept walking back, and Sting's doing the whole promo. Randy, how do you do? Not talking. That was like all he said, the promo. All right. Here we go. Starting back at the top. The Nature Boy Ric Flair, 16-time world champion. Woo! Going up against John Cena, the 17-time world champion. Promo class. Who's in? Who's out? I mean, I'm going to say Flair. It's obvious to me.
DHW went Flair. As much as I like this thugonomic rapping promos, I've got to go Ric Flair also. Tom said
Answer the question of who should be on the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling. It is Ric Flair, The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Dusty Rhodes. There's no question about it. There's no argument to be had. Those are the 4 people that are the official Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling. Looks a little different than that picture, but that's okay. Well, thank you guys for playing. It broke the stream. Now it broke my throat. Yeah. I'm good with those 4, and I like. I wouldn't have necessarily picked those 4 if I was just picking myself out of that list of 20 names. It probably wouldn't have been those 4. But when you start breaking it down by category and coming up with consensus of other people, and then what that averages out to, I can't argue with it. And not only that, but it's a mix of WWF and WCW and NWA, so you got a little bit of everybody in there.
And that list could have been different. Like you said, if we had 40, 50, 100 guys on that list, it could have changed up quite a bit, but...
Yeah, but I think your last 4 would still be the same.
Maybe.
I mean, tell me the name that's not on the list right now that's better than any of those 4. Which name did we omit that's going to beat any of those 4 names?
I can't think of anybody. I'm just saying.
If you come up with one,
but then again,
text it.
but like you said too, we all have our own personal, because yes, Undertaker and Stone Cold are probably on my personal ones, but then I also have to add Triple H to my personal one, and I don't know who my 4th is.
Yeah, I mean, in my world, like I said, I'm making my own. I got Barry Windham and Tito.
Yeah, Eddie Guerrero would have been my 4th. So,
but that's why we do it this way. It's why it takes all the pressure off of us. Vern Gagne, yeah, you know what? Vern Gagne would have done. He would have had some 10s. I literally was just watching. Was it Super Sunday, the AWA event where Hogan beat Bockwinkel for the belt, but then they screwed him on it?
That was somebody we didn't mention either, Nick Bockwinkel.
Well, because he isn't going to beat any of these names. He would have finished up in an 8 category. I had plenty of 8s. I needed 9s and 10s. All right. Well, listen, that was fun. It got pretty much what I thought was going to turn out like. Again, I didn't know which 4 names for sure. I was pretty confident Undertaker and Flair were going to be at the final. 2 of the finalists. I wasn't sure. I thought Shawn Michaels was probably going to be there. Austin's another one I was pretty confident. I wasn't even thinking about The Rock until his name came up, and then I was like, oh, shit, there goes that. But he didn't make it. Didn't make it. So, Ultimate Warrior, no, man. And I'm a big Ultimate Warrior fan, especially back in the day. I was all in. When he fought Hogan, I was on Team Warrior to the extreme. Had the face paint on, had an airbrush T-shirt. My buddy was an airbrush artist. We had a ground floor apartment, had about 7 people over watching it. When he won that match, I had that big banner that they used to sell for the Warrior, the black and white banner, which I still have somewhere floating around. I had that thing around me like a cape. I ran out the door into our courtyard in this complex like a fucking lunatic. Ah, Warrior! And I'm like doing laps. That all said, he can't wrestle for shit, so he's going to get a 6. Draw for what? 2 years only. That's it. He might get a 7 there. Merch, I'll give him an 8 or a 9 there. Persona 3. There's a reason he wasn't in the top 20.
The Rocket Ship.
Yeah, in 1987, 1988, 1989, I was all Ultimate Warrior. Those days are gone. That's about as long as he lasted. I'm such a sellout. My favorite Latino wrestler is a white man. Damn, I wish he was on screen with us, man, because he's much better in live time. All right. Well, like I said, this is going to be our last one using the StreamYard. So sometime next week or so, Jay and I are going to have to put some time aside to try this alternate thing that I can supposedly get to work with OBS, according to the YouTube people that put out a video saying you can do this. It sounds logically like it'll work, but I got to actually mess with it a few times before I can feel at all confident. So looking forward to that next week. In the meantime, I'm going to take about a 10-minute break, come back with a debut of a brand new thing we're going to be doing here called Game On. We put a post up recently on the channel asking if you guys are into video games, and if so, which ones. And man, y'all came through. A lot of interaction, a lot of, the vote was like 88% or 89% of the people watching these videos consider themselves either to be gamers or casual gamers, which if you're playing, you're a gamer.
Right.
Only 11% don't play video games at all. And I wasn't that surprised, I guess, that the majority, I didn't know there would be such an overwhelming majority. And then some of the titles, and this is one of the things about this show that I want to be doing, is because you all mentioned some titles I hadn't even heard of, and I'm pretty much in the gaming loop. I listen to a lot of different stuff on games coming out and things like that. Even if it's something I know I'm not into, I still am aware of them. And there's one in particular called Arc Raiders that'll be coming out October 30th. And if you haven't heard about it or seen it, it's looking, it's not necessarily, it's not the kind of game I'm going to do well at, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, it's kind of not really a Call of Duty. There's a little like a Call of Duty-esque thing going on there. There's a little bit of like a Last of Us multiplayer thing going on in there. It's a combination of different things that you've seen in other games, but it really looks well done. Really well done. So I'll have some trailers to play, and we'll talk about it. And then one of you had a game that you mentioned. I'd never heard of it. Pulled it up, and it was on sale for $9.99 for now until the 2nd of July. And it says, hey, for $10, I'll grab it. So we're going to bust that open later on. So I'm going to take a 10-minute break, get something to drink, be back with Game On. Hopefully you guys will pop in, at least check it out for a little bit. Let me know what you think. Anything you want to talk in the way of video games, that's where we can do that. Jay, anything else?
Not at the moment. Nope.
Not at the moment, the man says. All right. Well, in that case.
Oh, yes. Actually, to go into your next show, I just saw 2 promo trailers for if anybody's into the horror games, not Wes Craven. Crap. What's his name? Did the Halloween movies.
Anyways. Yeah. You're talking about the new Halloween movies.
Anyways. No. I'm talking the original.
John Carpenter?
Yes. He is in production right now with a
I thought he's dead.
No.
Rob Zombie, is that who you're talking about?
No. Because
John Carpenter, I'm almost positive died. Hold on.
I just watched it. 2026, they're releasing a new Halloween game, and it's based off the first movie. And they said John Carpenter was.
Hold on. Maybe I don't want to bury the guy. Maybe he ain't dead yet. No, I guess he's alive.
Yeah. But
doesn't look like he's alive. Holy cow, man. Got a Jack Nicholson thing going on.
Didn't say he looked good, just said he was still breathing. But yeah, I guess
like that. I had not heard about that.
Yeah, I just saw it today, actually. So, but
and that's
he's the one. Yeah, he's spearheading it, and he wants to base it off of the first game, and so they said come 2026 it should be out.
Cool. Well, that's what that show is going to be all about. So that's where we can have that kind of open chat, and that's. Again, there's stuff that I'll probably be bringing up that maybe y'all haven't heard of, and then stuff like this, which I don't know how I didn't hear about that. But cool. Let me save this real quick.
Dun, 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 dun.
All right. All right. Well, once again, give me about 10 minutes and we'll be bouncing on over there and doing that thing and breaking in a new game and talking video games and all that other good stuff. In the meantime, say goodbye, Jay.
Goodbye, Jay.
Goodbye, everybody else. We'll see you guys in a few minutes, I hope. Take care. Good night. Actually watched a little bit of AEW, not a lot. Just enough to remind me why I don't watch it. Oh, this is already funny. Just the headline. The list of moves and actions that are now banned from AEW or need to be approved by the company.
Maybe that's why Nash is pissed off, because he went for Rock and Austin and not try to duplicate him.
Well, it'd be easier to duplicate him. You only have to learn 5 moves.
Like you said, and we've all been saying, Tony Khan, you need a hierarchy, and he gets one, and then we make fun of it.
Because he's sitting back there talking about the Brock match, and finally we had a wrestling match. Finally we got 2 guys telling a story. They weren't outside in the ring the whole time. One of them
Was he not watching the same match as we were?
Yeah, those games, man, I would say, like, for me, like, the best ones, I would say, are, like, the ones where they try to get a certain, like, time.
This is my entire IT team right here on screen.